Is Final Fantasy X-2 the best Final Fantasy game? Well, for many they might consider it the worst game in the series. One of the most liked reviews of Final Fantasy X-2 on Backlog states, "I'm going to pretend this doesn't exist, it's the only way I can go about my life." Meanwhile, the most recommended review of the game on Game FAQs from 2005 has the headline that reads, "Few gamers will find anything good within Final Fantasy X-2, and this includes even the most dedicated of perverts."
I don't recall asking your opinion.
Even by 2009, fans couldn't comprehend the game, with the most popular forums theorising that Final Fantasy X-2 was bad on purpose.
I don't like your plan. It sucks.
Final Fantasy X-2 certainly does have its fans, but it appears the backlash of the vocal minority is an intrinsic part of the game's legacy and general perception. It appears that most common criticisms focus on one of two things. Number one, the drastic change in characterization and tone compared to Final Fantasy X, and number two, the clothes and J-pop music, or rather lack of clothes, with one user review stating that you can only like this game if you're into sexism or girls feeling the need to dress like whores in an effort to express their true selves. So let's quickly tackle both points. I have finished Final Fantasy X and I thought it was okay. I loved the central premise and the world building, but got bogged down by linearity, making me feel like I was being led by the nose. Those stupid cloister trials, and just the general repetitiveness and shallowness of the gameplay. The tone is fairly serious and morbid, centralised on natural disasters and impending doom. Meanwhile, Final Fantasy X-2 is goofy and silly and follows in a time of newfound peace and tranquility. The difference in tone are drastic, and I can understand that the shift is not for everyone, but I feel the tonal shift is motivated by the end of Final Fantasy X. I think most people's gripe is with point 2, the clothing. And to talk about this point, I have a guest appearance from my wife.
So, let me take you back to the year 2003. I was a preteen, trying my hardest to be cool and edgy. I liked new metal music, wore all black clothing, and had a fake nose ring. However, I had a secret. Back then, it was not cool to admit that you liked anime. And I loved it. It was so informative in my childhood years, especially the magical girl genre epic that was Sailor Moon. The early 2000s was a weird time for gender roles and targeting marketing in video games. Earlier in my childhood, I loved playing Nintendo games, but being 12 years old and a girl, I was expected to play just The Sims. Even if that. Then Final Fantasy X-2 came out and I saw those character designs, Yuna with her hair. I genuinely took a photo of Yuna's hair to the hairdressers, by the way. I became enthralled by them. I wanted to be them. Their designs instantly drew me into the game and got me to pick up and play my first ever JRPG. I actually traded it with a friend who was a boy who didn't enjoy it. Did I finish it? No, but I remember obsessively drawing those characters and their outfits for months before and after playing that game, and being fascinated by their attacks and powers. Much like Sailor Moon, many people saw these characters as hyper-sexualized because of the clothes that the characters wore, as if they were designed for the male gaze. I don't believe this is true. Being powerful can mean different things to different people, and we were only starting to see different perspectives in video games and other new media. Is Final Fantasy X-2 a bit cheesy? Absolutely, but that doesn't lessen its value compared to other games. Being silly doesn't mean you can't be strong, and when going into battle you can and should wear the damn short shorts and the long flowing blue skirt, just like Yuna.
Back to the original question, is Final Fantasy X-2 the best game in the series? Well, to be perfectly honest, I am not actually the biggest fan of Final Fantasy, and have gone into many entries with excitement that slowly dwindles over time. I've tried Final Fantasy VII about 5 or 6 different times, back from its original release in 1997 to retrying it earlier this year, and each time I stop about 30 to 60% through and just kind of lose enthusiasm. I'm invested in the story in general, but just nothing really drives me to keep playing the game. Final Fantasy X, as I said, I loved it at first, but I just kind of limped to the finish line. Same goes with 12 and with 4. I did enjoy Final Fantasy VI, but I also really loved Final Fantasy IX, being ranked number 26 in my top 100 games from my video in April of 2022. My issues with the series can generally be boiled down to these three things. The games are too linear, their stories are too sentimental and self-serious, and the mechanics are often shallow or repetitive. Obviously this is all personal taste, but they often end up making my playthrough feel restrictive and lacking in personal expression. Give me a Dragon Quest with its easy breezy stories and cute monsters. Give me Baten Kaitos, Skies of Arcadia, Paper Mario, Grandia, a modern Yakuza game. So how does Final Fantasy X-2 stack up? If it's the most hated game in the series, then maybe I'll actually really enjoy it. Let's start with, is Final Fantasy X-2 linear? Short answer, no. Basically the game is made up of 5 large chapters, and in each chapter there is a set of main objectives you must complete alongside a list of side objectives. Areas are interconnected, but right from the very start of the game you can fast travel anywhere in the world. This means that some areas feel a little lifeless and empty if there's nothing to do there, but just having that option to explore is a lot of fun. Plus the monsters in each area level up as you progress each chapter, and chests respawn with new goodies. Is Final Fantasy X-2 too serious?
Yes, good. Okay, so now tell me, what is the meaning of life?
What?
Again, no. Final Fantasy X-2 is camp, irreverent, goofy, characters are zany and say stupid things. Though importantly, they do develop slowly as the stakes increase, and Yuna especially is forthright and grows as a leader throughout the story. The interactions between the 3 women feels genuine as they rib on one another and gradually pick up on one another's mannerisms and phrases. LeBlanc are set up as the villain group and they are as sassy as they are helpless. Plus you get this minigame where you must dress up as a henchwoman and give the leader a massage.
That's nice. Where are you groping? Stop that. That hurts!
Also, let's discuss the fashion a little bit more. Rather than talk about how revealing the clothes may or may not be, let's just admire the amazing Y2K aesthetics. This game is like a time capsule, a bleeding edge of Millennium Cool, summer vibes, Harajuku girls, miniskirts, lots of denim. We're just like a juicy couture tracksuit away from Britney Spears and Paris Hilton.
Only naughty girls would scrounge through other people's bedrooms.
Are Final Fantasy X-2's mechanics interesting? Absolutely. So you have the same 3 party members the entire game. You cannot affect their stats when they level up, you cannot equip them with new weapons or armour, and they learn no permanent skills. Instead, the customization and party composition comes from the dress sphere. There are 14 dress spheres in the main game, plus 2 more if you're playing the International or HD remasters. And each party member can equip a different dress sphere one at a time and switch those dress spheres based on their equipped garment grid. In simple terms, the dress spheres work like job classes. You've got the typical ones like the Black Mage, the White Mage, the Warrior, the Thief, along with some more esoteric choices, such as the Trainer, the Songstress, or the Mascot. Each dress sphere dramatically alters how each party member plays, including dramatically altering their stats and what actions they can take during battle. The White Mage cannot even attack, whilst the Alchemist can make up powerful potions and ethers without using any items, or can mix 2 items together for unique and unexpected effects. Lady Luck meanwhile uses dice rolls and slot machines, which can occasionally work against you and accidentally put your whole party member to sleep or cause them to lose half their HP. As each party member uses their special actions and wins battles with their equipped dress sphere, they gain AP, which in turn unlocks new abilities and commands for that job for that character. Add this to the unique traits each garment grid permits, and then add to that each character's 2 accessory slots, and you have a deep and rewarding progression system that is as much about investment as it is about experimentation. And the game is no slouch when it comes to difficulty either. I've had some bosses beat me to a bloody pulp, but then without any grinding you can switch dress spheres, take a new tactic, and find yourself eking out a win, which always feels super rewarding. My only gripe about the dress spheres is that some of them are permanently missable. For example, I missed out on a trainer class because I did not speak to a certain character and pick a certain dialogue choice in chapter 2. I even used a wiki page to find all dress spheres and still made this mistake. Which in truth was no real biggie, and I had lots of other dress spheres to play with, but I can imagine this would really suck for completionists. Though from what I know about Final Fantasy, missable items and equipment and quests are very much part of the course. So is Final Fantasy X-2 my favourite game in the series? No. Final Fantasy IX is still my favourite, but Final Fantasy X-2 is now my second favourite. I'd really suggest you guys just give it a go. Despite what some closed-minded troglodytes said in 2003, this game isn't just for perverts, it's for people that want to have a campy, fun time with Y2K aesthetics and a surprisingly deep and unique job system.
I don't like your plan. It sucks.